Many New Zealand cities depend on food being brought in from all over the country and abroad. This causes emissions and packaging waste. Could growing food in the city be part of the solution? In New Zealand's largest city, Auckland, our host Jonna grows food around her house.
So hi Jonna, thank you for having us.
Alright.
I was wondering, what is it you do here at your home in Auckland?
Well, we are trying to grow more fruit and veggies for to eat, to grow for ourselves. We had, when we bought the place, this was all grass all around us, and so we have slowly removed all the grass and planted fruit trees. For example, this peach tree, and so we're converting it to a little food forest, which we're using permaculture principles to guide how we set it up.
So that's why you have here some fruit trees, but you also over there have a non-fruit bearing tree?
Correct, we have a whole lot of nitrogen fixers and support trees, and so over there behind us we've got a tipuana tipu, which is a great nitrogen fixer, and then we chop all the leaves off, put it underneath the fruit trees to kind of fertilise the fruit trees. So it's a mix of fruit trees and support species, basically, support trees.
So here, Jonna, we're standing in what I believe was your driveway.
Yes, correct. This was a awful concrete driveway to park down in the garage down the back, which was converted, and it was just a waste of space because we never used it, and so it was pointless. So we've ripped up the concrete and put down some mulch, and we're going to plant some fruit trees here. We've got apples and grapes and stuff. We're going to have a little mini orchard in the driveway because it's much better use of the space.
So we're now in your vegetable garden.
Yep.
Can you tell us why you've switched from grass to fruits and vegetables?
Well, we like growing things. We like the idea of providing our own food for the family. We know where it's come from. It's very satisfying growing your own food. And we know what sprays have gone on it. And then we just like the idea of kind of having more of a natural ecosystem in the garden rather than just having grass, which doesn't really do anything for the flora and fauna.
Auckland's city centre is full of apartment buildings, so gardens are scarce. For those without a garden, there are other ways to grow food. An area has been set aside for a community garden with movable planters. Coordinator Richard explains why he gardens here.
I got one because actually it turned out this is very similar to most of the people here. We downsized and moved in to the city, so we moved into an apartment. The apartment has no space for a garden, so I just wanted to get some kind of gardening activity in the city. It's enough for be doing something, you're close to nature and you can still grow some of your own food, etc., that kind of thing. I'm just mainly growing things that I will use at home. So my wife is always making green smoothies, so I'm growing spinach and kale and cavolo nero and things like that can go into green smoothies.
The garden boxes are popular for different reasons.
We have about 40 garden boxes here, and we're having 5 new ones added on. Most of the gardeners are just private individuals. There are 3 or 4 which are looked after by corporates, and we have 3 garden boxes which are looked after by a cafe across the road, and they use that to grow mainly herbs and things they use in the cooking. The rest of it really is private individuals who live within the walking distance. One key partnership or collaboration we have is with a group called For the Love of Bees. Maybe each fortnight they'll run some kind of workshop. It could be on how to get better soil health, how to harvest your own seed from plants, how to do composting properly, things that the general public can come to. It's not just for the gardeners here, but anybody around from the office buildings or whatever can come and have a look. And then there's some people who are growing for charity. So some people here they specifically grow and then they take the produce to the city mission or someone like that, which helps them out. But it's a community garden, so you have to be prepared for people to come and take some.
Elsewhere in Auckland, it's all about giving away the food that is grown. Volunteers run a very large community garden to grow food for those who have difficulties getting fresh, healthy vegetables. Every week, local residents can get them for free here. In the nation's capital, Wellington, we find another initiative, Kaicycle. It's all about Kai, meaning food, and closing the nutrient cycle, as manager Rory explains.
Rory, it's great to be here, and
nice to have you.
It's such a wonderful place. But why are there no buildings? How come you have this beautiful urban farm on this land?
So this is public land owned by the city, and it was a grass park here before, and 5 years ago the group Kaicycle worked with the council to turn it into an urban farm. So really what we're doing here is about using public land that can't be built on to regenerate land, bring people in the city closer to back to growing food and nature, and helping to reduce food insecurity in the city. And we grow food and we distribute it through a community supported agriculture scheme to the community. And we'd love to see more farms like this open up around the city and pockets of land as they become available, and we can really bring farming back into the city.
So Lydia, thank you so much for explaining what you're here for. I heard you're a CSA customer, and what does it entail?
So I pay $40 a week for seasonal vegetables. So it's part of the community supported agriculture model. It's very seasonal. So we're in autumn at the moment, and as you can see, we have some lovely salad greens. I can open it up. And we've got our cherry tomatoes. Yeah, spring onions, courgettes, cucumber, best tasting cucumbers. So fresh and crunchy and just creamy as well. So you can really taste the difference between an organic grown cucumber as opposed to a supermarket well, what you get from the supermarket. So yeah, that's about it.
To close the nutrient loop, Kaicycle composts.
So we're collecting the amazing resource that is available in cities, food scraps that come out of people's households. So we collect from over 100 houses and businesses in the city on bikes with trailers, and we bring that food scraps back here and we use it to make compost, and then that compost is what's rebuilding the soil in the garden that we're growing food in. And so food waste is a massive issue. 50% of organic waste, landfill waste in most cities is organic waste. So once it's in landfills, that nutrients is lost to us. We can't use that nutrients, we can't get it back. So composting is just an essential no-brainer to use that amazing resource to put it back into the soil and keep the cycle of life going.
In Christchurch on the South Island, the garden is all about growing in more than one sense. The founders of Cultivate transformed an empty city space into an urban farm. They not only grow food for the neighborhood and local restaurants, but also provide training and employment for youngsters. By working alongside volunteers and learning how to garden, they gain skills and grow their self-confidence. So whether you turn your garden into an orchard or join a community garden,
urban gardening is accessible to everyone. You'll get fresh, good food, increased biodiversity and reduced carbon emissions. And don't worry if you don't know how to garden. Many community gardens offer help.
Our gate is open all the time, so anyone off the street can come and volunteer here for half an hour or a whole day and just get involved in what we're doing and learn about all aspects of food production. So, you know, sowing seeds, planting, prepping garden beds, weeding, propagation, all of the components, and so then they can take that knowledge back to their home garden, or they may want to go and start another farm, urban farm or rural farm like this. So we're just trying to propagate information and knowledge as well about such a fundamental thing, which is growing food in a way that regenerates land and doesn't hurt it.
Did you like this video?
And want to see more? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on social media, become our patron on Patreon, or subscribe to our email newsletter on our website.